Okay.
All right. Welcome to a new episode of the Rock Fantasy Files. This is the Ronnie James Dio / Black Sabbath edition. Tonight I've asked my guests to name their top Black Sabbath or Heaven and Hell era tunes. Joining us tonight, Robin Mazen, manager Exodus, bass player in Gruesome and Dakota. I've also got Munsey Ricci here from Skateboard Marketing tonight. I've got Andrew Freeman from Last in Line. I've got John McEntee from the mighty Incantation. And our special guest tonight is Vinnie Appice from Last in Line, and of course, Black Sabbath and other projects. And we've got Peter Pardo here from the Sea of Tranquility, also on the Hudson Valley Squares. He hosts that show every Monday night. And we got Chris Allo, longtime rock journalist and a regular on the Hudson Valley Squares. And I call him my Black Sabbath guru. So,
well, it's good to be here. Good to be here.
Joined by Chris Caffery from Savatage in a little bit, and possibly Will Carroll tonight. So I guess we're going to kick it off with you, Munsey, tonight.
Yeah, man.
What's
there
your
he is.
Three song, and I know you're reissuing some of some Black Sabbath and Dio records soon. Maybe you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, actually, Rhino is putting out the Volume 4 Revisited from Sabbath, and they're also putting out the Last in Line record live in New York.
Yeah.
Hey, Munsey, can I get paid for that?
Dude, I'm not your record company, but dude, I'll buy you cannoli.
They put this shit out. I'm like, what? Hello.
Let me say this, Vinnie. Who brings you cannolis at the Black Sabbath show at Jones Beach?
You did.
That's right.
But
He
now
can't
I
have
want
sugar anymore, though. He can't have that much sugar anymore.
No,
Dude,
I can't eat that shit anymore.
And at the minute I get backstage with a bakery box, people didn't want to talk to me. They were like, "Hey, what do you got there?" I said, "You can't have it. It's for Vinnie."
That's okay. When we played Madison Square Garden, I got about 20 boxes of devil dogs.
Oh,
Everybody's bringing me devil dogs. And I actually went into Tony's dressing room with a glass of milk and a devil dog, and he ate it and he liked it. But I thought it was ironic that here the Black Sabbath guitar player eating devil dogs.
Vinny, these are one.
That one's even better than me getting Kiko Larejo in Detroit on a promo trip to eat White Castle.
Oh no, I do that too on when I go to Cincinnati. You gotta have it. We don't have it here. You got it in Vegas.
I do. We got two in Vegas. Yeah.
You got two. We here you don't have anything. So
yep.
See, I could have brought Tony Iommi a Twinkie.
I'm sure you did once or twice, didn't you?
Yeah, so anyway, BMG is putting out the Last in Line stuff, and Rhino's doing the Revisited for Volume 4. So that's actually, I didn't even know we were going to work the Heaven and Hell and the Mob Rules reissues either for Rhino until about a week and a half ago when I got a phone
Could
call.
I get paid for those two? That's 3 of them.
I don't know, dude. Call the fucking label, dude. I don't know. They write me a check. I go to work, dude. I'm in the same boat as you.
He knows who he's got to call.
Andy's my lawyer. Andy's my representative.
Wait, he knows who he's got to call.
That's all right. Delivery's cool, dude. We'll have a meeting at the hot dog cart with a conditioner soda.
I'll meet you at White Castle. We'll discuss this further.
Absolutely.
Okay, continue. I'm sorry I interrupted you again.
That's okay.
That's all right, dude.
So
what was the original question? What is my third favorite Ronnie James Dio song?
Ronnie James Dio, Black Sabbath era we're looking at tonight. I mean, whatever.
I am probably going to say my third favorite Sabbath song with Ronnie would probably be Mob Rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And the Mob Rules album to me was an amazing record. And the band progressed a little bit from Heaven and Hell, which Heaven and Hell is actually my favorite Ronnie James Dio era record by the band. But Mob Rules was definitely one of those records where I could sit back and listen to it, and no matter how many times I listen to it, even though that record is like 40 years old, it still sounds fresh.
Yeah.
And the guitar riff in Mob Rules is phenomenal. You know, it shreds and it gets my adrenaline going, and I just crank it to 11, and it's amazing. The one thing about that record is it was a stellar album, but I think a lot of people underrated that album. They never really sat back and really listened to that album in its entirety to realize just how good it was, you know. But I will say though, Mob Rules, the song itself, is my third favorite Dio era song.
Excellent. Thank you. We're moving over to Robin Mazen. How you doing tonight, Robin?
I'm A-okay, thank you.
Good.
Look how bright she is.
You see?
Yeah.
That's only for you. I don't like this.
But you're still blurry. I think it's your camera.
Probably because my computer's dirty. I don't know.
Might be the humidity in Tampa.
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah,
It is. That could-
it might also be the humidity, but you know. Okay. So I don't know. It's hard to pick. Like, how do you pick a song off the records? Like,
Yeah.
as we talked about earlier, it's really difficult. As far as, man, this is so hard. I would have to say I'm gonna tie it maybe for my third as actual Heaven, Hell, and Children of the Sea, because I can't
All right.
choose. Am I allowed to do that? Am I?
No, because I'm not on those. I'm not on those songs.
I'm sorry.
You got to
But
pick
it's like-
another one.
You better pick one.
Those are my third.
All right.
So,
Dio songs that Vinnie played on.
That's it.
okay,
We
so
didn't, we
I have
didn't
to
put
change
that
it.
ditto in there. Okay. Well, he's played those
Hey,
songs.
that's
once,
Chris.
I'm sure.
You know, like, I mean, yeah.
All right. Good.
I'm gonna tie those. I'm gonna tie those because
You
I'm
got
trying
your
to
number
sneak in
threes
more
in,
than
and we'll
three.
come back for you for number 2, and you better have Vinnie on drums on one of those. I think he's gonna be upset.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Well, I already have a list, so I don't want to change it.
All right, good. Next on my lineup here is Andrew Freeman from Last in Line.
Oh,
Can I introduce you to
all right.
Andrew.
see you tonight?
All right. How's everybody? Good to see y'all.
Nice to see you again, Andy. Twice in 1 week. This is getting.
I know it's getting kind of stupid now. So I am not going to follow the rules. I am going to do what I want to fucking do.
He's listening to fools.
I am. I'm listening to fools.
Yes.
Oh, Chris
Good one.
just showed up. Okay.
So I'm going to do my favorite Black Sabbath, Dio Black Sabbath era song. I'm going to do my favorite Dio song.
Good.
Okay.
Anybody's
three.
welcome to do
But
that. You know, this is anarchy.
But I'm also going to have an honorable mention. So
Awesome.
on this one. Okay. So number 3 of the Dio era Sabbath is Die Young for me.
Oh man, that's it. I'm not playing with you anymore. I'm not on that.
I thought Bill Ward was fantastic on that song.
But you know
Bill
what?
Ward-
I
Bill
played
Ward
that
was
song
brilliant.
more than Bill.
It's actually the Die Young I like is the one from the live album.
There you go. Good
Yeah.
save.
There you go.
There you go.
So number 3 for Dio era Dio songs, it would be because I play a lot of these songs, but I don't get to play this one. This one's called Jesus, Mary, and the Holy Ghost.
Oh really?
And that is, oh fuck, dude, are you kidding me?
You
That's a
know,
great song.
that was written after the King Crimson song.
Yeah, it's off of Strange Highways. Yeah.
What's the name of that song, King Crimson?
It's 21st Century Schizoid Man.
That's it. Ronnie wanted to
Okay.
do the same kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So there's
That's
that
Jeff
one.
Pilson on bass.
That's a really great record. It's a really different Dio album. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound like any other record that they did. It's a really interesting record. What's his name? What's the guitar player's name? Not Gus G.
Tracy G.
Tracy G playing guitar on it, and Jeff
Yeah.
Pilson plays bass on it, and it's a really interesting record. And that song is one of my favorite from it. So my honorable mention is The Shed by Rainbow. There you go.
Wow, we're covering them all now. So now that Andrew's opened us up, you can pick a Dio song too. How's that? That's Anarchy. It's Black Sabbath. It's Dio. It's Vinnie Appice. We're having fun
Okay,
tonight.
I'll work that in on my next
Yeah,
one.
you got in between talking, you can pick one if you want. John McEntee from Incantation, welcome to the show tonight. And what's your opening statement for this?
I don't know. I feel like a fanboy, so I'm gonna just try to chill out a little bit because I'm super big fan. But anyway,
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
yeah, no problem. I actually listened to that last in line, the second one. It's really good vocal performance on that. Sounds killer.
Yeah, we hired a really cool guy for that. Thanks.
That guy was pretty good, that guy.
But I just want to bring up, I went to the Heaven and Hell show in Toronto, Canada. I went to that show because I was scared that the band was like break up or something, because I just didn't want to miss it. And that was the first run. And I just, I was from Pennsylvania at the time, so it wasn't too long of a trip. And man, it just touched me so much because I grew up around that, around the Dio era Sabbath stuff is when I was a teenager. So albums like Live Evil and, Mob Rules, all that stuff was like, it's part of my DNA as far as just a person, really. Right. So, I mean, watching that show, and it was just so amazing because I also got to hear so many songs from the Dehumanizer album, which is an album I really love that I always thought never got the credit it deserved. Right. Maybe it's because of the time. Yeah. I really think that's a strong album. And it brought tears to my eyes listening to some of those songs. I never thought it would happen in my life. Like, I just thought I don't know. It's sad to think of all that talent and it just not being able to come together for some reason or whatever. And I don't know the politics of it, but I was just so happy to get that, to witness that in person. It just meant the world to me. But yeah, but anyway, I have a million things I could say, but I'm nervous as fuck right now. But anyway,
don't be nervous, John.
My third favorite song, and it's impossible to really pick because really all the albums that Dio played on Sabbath are like my favorite. So, and I love the Heaven and Hell album too, but I wanted to choose Master of Insanity. I just love the way that song starts off with the bass and the drum playing on it. It's such a good song. The whole album to me is amazing, but it's just a great song. And it was tough, really tough to choose because After All was another one that I really, really like off that album.
Yeah, After All, I love that song.
There's other great ones, that are common ones, more like Computer God and, and TV Crimes, but I just like more the deeper tracks. I'm just really was a fan of that dynamic, and I just thought it was amazing. And I was just so happy, just so happy to be able to see some of those songs off that album live. Because I just thought it was never going to happen. Because at the time, I was touring with my band at the time you guys were playing in New York on that tour, so I missed it. And then that lineup imploded, which I was like, great. Now, never get to see it. And for me, it's a super important time. I actually got into Sabbath because of, I heard the song on that heavy metal Mob Rules on the heavy metal. That came out. Track. Yeah. And that, I heard of Black Sabbath before that. I knew some of the stuff, but once I heard Dio at Sabbath, it was just like, oh, wow, this is really great. And I actually got into the Ozzy Sabbath because of listening to the Dio Sabbath. So It's a really special place in my heart. And anyone that knows me knows that Black Sabbath is my biggest influence. And the Dio era is, really the sweet spot for me. Dio, and I love the Ian Gillan album too. I think that's a great one too.
Great album, yeah.
Oh, fucking Born Again rules.
Yeah.
Master of Insanity was actually a Geezer song that he brought in.
Nice.
And those are Geezer's lyrics. Ronnie didn't write those lyrics.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I think the melody's close to what Geezer had as well. Geezer was doing it with his band. He had a band called
Yeah, GZR, right?
Yeah,
Or something.
GZR. Yeah. And I think they were going to use it and did it. And then we needed another song. That's how that got on there.
Nice.
It's awesome. Well, you guys did some magic too, because I really didn't like the GZR stuff too much, even though I love Geezer Butler as a bass player. I never liked his solo stuff that much.
Yeah. Well, here we have Geezer coming on right now. Then
Here he is. Right now. Everybody, Geezer Butler.
Did you hear what John said, Geezer? He left. He left.
I'm sorry, guys.
And they were going to let you open up on the next tour. All righty. Hey, Vinnie, I guess you're next in line on my lineup here. I'm not going to do the last in line joke because Andrew always yells.
I don't like any of the songs.
So you don't
All
want,
right.
you don't want to
None.
pick like your favorite song to play or your favorite song? All right.
Favorite song to play, probably live is I.
All right.
we
It's an
were playing
awesome
I.
song.
Yeah, three of them are Heaven and Hell, Mob Rules, and I.
All right.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Peter Pardo, I guess you're next. Unless, you got, he gave us three and that was quick and all great songs. And I was one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah.
Also, I could
All
tell
right,
you
good
that the Mob Rules that's on that heavy metal album that version was recorded at John Lennon's house in England.
Wow.
We had a couple of days off, and they said, "You want to do a song for the movie?" So we said, "Yeah." So we went to John Lennon's house, and he was passed away already. It just happened.
Mm.
And we got the keys to the room. I got John's room, and I worked with John when I was 16 years old. So it was weird that I got his room, but I didn't want to stay in there. I saw too many Frankenstein movies when I was a kid, and I didn't want to stay in a room with somebody just died.
Yeah.
So call me crazy. I should have stayed in there. That would be good. But anyway, that song was written and recorded there. And then the one on the Mob Rules album was recorded in LA at the record plant. So there's two different versions.
Yeah.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
but sounds a little different.
And
That's the history.
the one you guys recorded for the movie came out before the album, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I thought.
And that kind of cemented me into the band, because before that it was like, well, I'm touring on the Heaven and Hell tour.
Mhm.
In case Bill comes back, then I would be gone, But then when we recorded
Mhm.
Mob Rules, it was like a whole new energy in the band, the way it
Yes.
happened, and everybody freaked out, including the band. Like, whoa, this is really good, So that kind of cemented me in the band, because it's not Bill's type of song, to play too. So
Excellent.
I put some encrypted rolls in there, so nobody can do them but me.
Awesome.
So that's the history.
That's great. That's a great story.
It's
Thanks.
awesome.
And thanks for giving some time, giving up me some of your time tonight. It was an honor to have you on. I'm a little like John. I was like, my wife goes, "You're nervous," and I'm not usually on a Zoom with the drummer from Black Sabbath, and I've seen you so many times. With
Well, Andy gets nervous too when he's standing in front of me.
Oh, does he? Good to know.
I see him shaking sometimes.
Well, he put his hair down tonight for the interview.
I noticed that too.
He doesn't do that for anybody.
Some days it happens. Some days it's some days you shoot videos and your hair looks good. So it's what it is.
Cool. I guess.
And some days it's a pandemic and you don't feel like fucking doing your hair. So eat a dick.
I guess it's time to wake up Peter Pardo down in the bottom corner here. It's on the bottom corner of my screen, at least. And welcome to the show, Pete. And thanks for joining us tonight. And
thanks for having me, Steve. Always a pleasure. Nice to see everybody. Vinnie, it's an absolute pleasure. Big
Hey, Pete.
fan for like 40
Sorry I interrupted you before, but
No, that's quite all right. It's quite all right. I had your brother on my show a couple times over the last couple months, and Carmine's
yeah?
nice to talk to as well. So it's great to talk to you.
Yeah.
So as far as my third favorite Black Sabbath with Ronnie song, I think I'm going to go with "Sign of the Southern Cross" from the Mob Rules.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
Heavy,
That's a heavy.
creamy, love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Great album. So that's going to be my number 3 pick. I'm going to pull Andy Freeman here tonight, and I'm going to do my third favorite Dio track, solo track, is going to be Stand Up and Shout.
Oh yeah.
And then my favorite Dio era Rainbow number 3 track, I think, is going to be Man on a Silver Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of classics here. I just started jotting down notes, and I jotted down like 30 songs in like 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, now how do I kind of put this in any sort of order? But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with almost anything that Ronnie ever touched. And
Yeah, Ronnie, put the magic on it.
Amazing.
I've said it many times over the last, however many years since Ronnie's been gone. And it's like, I don't think there is any rock star that I was into where that person's death touched me as much as Ronnie's did. And it's like every day I think about him and think of his music, and it hits you right here. I mean, I'm getting emotional just talking about him right now. It's just, what a special guy.
Did you meet him?
I never got a chance to meet him.
Okay. Now you would love meeting him too, because he's a sweetheart. Plus he remembers your name, unlike me, who just doesn't remember names. But you could meet him and then come back a year and a half later and he'll remember your name. So really
everybody who I've met who knew him said the exact same thing.
He actually, Vinnie, he told me how he did that once, and I forgot. So it's like, never mind remember people's names. Ronnie told me on one of the tours we were on how he did that, and I completely forgot what he said. He said,
I saw the back of his hand, and he had all these names written down.
It had something to do with where he said he always made sure when he met them, he said their name, and then it just stamped into his head with their face. But I could try that, and I still wouldn't remember.
I can't. I just don't remember names.
I never remember people's names. It's bad.
Cool. Pete, were you all done down there, or move
Yeah,
over?
those are my 3.
We're moving over to Chris. One of the Chris's on tonight, Chris Allo. First time ever in the Rock Fantasy Files. One of my best longtime friends. Welcome. And you're the Black Sabbath guru, so I guess you can pick a Dio and a Rainbow song too. I'm sorry I didn't prepare everybody for the 3, which did make more sense, but I'm a poor host.
Hey, Chris, you need a spotlight. You need a spotlight on Chris.
Yeah, it's a little dark in here. Like dark like my soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crank it up.
Big fan, Vinnie. Had the chance to interview you quite a few times. I've seen your version of Sabbath / Heaven and Hell 18 times in the States, England, Holland, Belgium, Canada. Sabbath's my all-time favorite band, but the Dio version of Sabbath just edges out the Ozzy lineup as my all-time ultimate version of Sabbath. So always a pleasure to speak with you.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. That's cool.
No doubt. My third favorite, since we're going back, unfortunately Vinny's not on this one. And,
oh man, you said all that nice stuff.
I know. Well, and I always was hoping that you guys would play it live, but to the best of my knowledge, no version of Black Sabbath ever played it live. Dio played it live. I don't know, maybe some cover band plays it live. It's Wishing Well, which is the first track on side 2 of Heaven and Hell. It's a little lighter, a little dancier, but I love it, man. It's a deep track for sure. I had heard rumors that in 2020, I guess it was 2010. If things would have been different, that there was a rumor that you guys were going to play all of Heaven and Hell from start to finish.
No,
that was not okay.
No.
All right.
Fake news.
No way.
Okay. All right. We'll see. That was mentioned. If I remember right, Tony Iommi was on an interview on Eddie Trunk's show, and he sort of mentioned that, and he also mentioned the possibility, this is obviously going back, the possibility of you guys actually playing some Ozzy era songs. And I remember when I interviewed Ronnie, he absolutely shot that down. He's like, no.
Oh yeah, he's not going to sing Ozzy songs after that, at that point,
Right.
Yeah.
We were beyond that.
But but yeah, it's a pleasure to speak to you. My question, and I know I've asked this question before, but it's been a long time. And when the Heaven and Hell reunion first happened in 2007, I had the chance to interview all four of you separately. And I asked all four of you this question, and all four of you had a different answer. But it's been, whatever it is, 14 years, and still nothing's been resolved. Unfortunately, your version of Sabbath, there's not much video footage out there. The Black and Blue movie was released in theaters in 1981, got a very limited release on home video. I grabbed it with me just because I had it next to me.
I never seen that. I never seen.
Seriously?
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Hey, Munsey, can I get paid for that too?
Dude, I'll send you some biscuits, dude.
That's funny.
Cannolis, but
I got them.
The Munsey, you're not re-releasing that too that next month?
What?
The Black and Blue movie. You've been releasing everything else, it sounds like.
Dude, I'm just the radio promo guy. My phone rings and I get a release schedule and I go to work before anybody knows anything.
He ain't bullshitting you neither.
And there's an embargo on all information till the press release goes out, or unless Vinnie bribes me with some cannolis.
Okay, well, back to Chris. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No worries. So anyway, Black and Blue is sort of like a lost movie. It was issued on DVD in like 2003, immediately recalled. So it's a two-part question. One, have you ever heard of anything about why this video of you guys is buried? I mean, I'm such a fan. Besides the video and the DVD, I actually own a 35 millimeter film print which was played in movie theaters of Black and Blue. But besides Black and Blue, the other thing that people have wanted to see for 40 years is the mythical footage of Live Evil, which was filmed, I believe it was in Dallas. There's 28 minutes worth of footage on YouTube, which was silent, but somebody dubbed in some audio from the show. It was shot, I think, with 3 or 4 different cameras, but it was never released. There's a ton of different rumors about why it wasn't released. Of course, one of which was because the band imploded. There's another rumor that just the footage was just not good. There's even debate of if the footage actually exists other than this 28 minutes worth of footage, which is on YouTube, some of which is shit because the cameramen were idiots, some of which is fantastic. It like literally brought tears to my eyes. So my long-winded question was, do you know anything if we'll ever see the Black and Blue movie or the Live Evil footage ever in this lifetime before we're all dead?
No.
Okay. All right.
How to ask? Wait for it.
No, actually, I haven't seen. I never seen Black and Blue, but I'll tell you what happened. Black and Blue is, I think it was at Madison Square Garden. We were managed by the same manager as Blue Oyster Cult. I won't mention names, and we turned up at the gig, and they said, "Oh, we're making a movie. We're going to release it live and all that." So Sabbath got mad, especially Tony and Ronnie were pissed off because we weren't told ahead of time. But Blue Oyster Cult was told ahead of time, and they had their Godzilla thing,
right?
Come out and a big production because we were co-headlining kind of thing, and they didn't tell us. And I remember going down the hall. I don't know if it was before or after the show, and Tony kicking the manager right in the ass, just like pissed off, and Ronnie. Everybody was pissed off. So it wasn't a good vibe on that movie, and so I never seen it. That probably why it came out, and then it was probably squished because of all the shit that went down. Otherwise we would have had some stuff, pyro crosses and stuff.
Well, that explains it, because I didn't ask, but yeah, they do have that huge Godzilla, which for even the cameraman that night didn't know what they were doing because they barely show the Godzilla. But you guys have the standard Heaven and Hell set up, which I guess was just the 2 crosses,
crosses, yeah,
and some pyro. But yeah, definitely the Godzilla thing was impressive.
We had
So,
two
and that
crosses,
show,
yeah, on the drum riser, big giant crosses that lit up, and then there was one above the drums, and we call that the disco cross because it had
Yeah.
lights all around it, and it would trace around and stuff. It was kind of corny, but for back then it was all right, you know.
right.
And as far as Live Evil, I forgot if they filmed it or not. I think they might have filmed some of that, you know. But the band was breaking up at that point, so
Yeah.
Right. And it's the Live Evil footage. It's on YouTube, so it definitely was filmed. Somebody found the footage.
I thought you were going to say somebody found the footage and then they overdubbed. They inserted the Chipmunks.
Nope.
When you
Nope.
said they put the music, you know, don't tell me somebody put
No, that would be
the Chipmunks in there.
that would be pretty funny.
Yeah. So I'll have to check it out, but I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's
at all.
cool. I mean, it's it's one of those. I mean, I'd pay $1,000, maybe more, just to get a DVD of that footage. I mean, the only
Actually, now
other
that
things
you
out there.
say that, my
I was
closet
gonna
here.
say, listen, I could
got
break open
2
that piggy
dozen.
bank.
Yeah, I don't even have a copy of that. That's how ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't get a copy of any of this stuff. Like these new releases, I won't. I'll have to buy them, you know, unless I come to Rhino.
Well, to tie into that, I remember the first time I interviewed you was backstage at the Mayflower Theater in Southampton, England, on the Dehumanizer tour. It was the night before, the night after I saw you at the Hammersmith Odeon. And I didn't know who I was going to interview. So I brought a bunch of different Sabbath and Dio related records. So I pulled out this record that I had just bought there called Dio Diamonds, which was a UK only release. And you'd never seen it before. And you were like, holy shit. You were like, I got to get a copy of this. And
did I say I didn't get paid for that either?
You may have. You definitely may have. But I remember you had to write down like the serial numbers and everything. You're like, I need a copy of this.
Yeah, I still don't
this.
have a copy of that. I still don't have that.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't. You know.
Well, how many copies do you have, Chris?
gonna
Maybe
do?
you can send them one.
Well,
I mean,
I actually, again, it's a Vinnie story because I actually have 2 because, I'm a collector. Pete knows he's seen some of my collection of stuff. And when Vinnie took it he had a piece of paper, he went to write down like the serial number and the contact info. Like he didn't mean it, but he did it on top of the actual record. So it's all indented with Vinnie's writing on the record. So I was like, well, on one hand, it's cool. On the other hand, it sucks. So I had to go buy a second copy. So I have 2.
You might as well send
sorry
them
about
a
that.
copy you wrote
That's
on.
okay. Now it's even rarer because it's got an original Vinnie Appice etching in it.
And then etching in there. That's right. Unbelievable. Well, I just did there's going to be some sort of a movie or release on I don't know if it's Netflix or whatever about Ronnie. So I just did how many interviews? Two or 3 interviews. They came to my house, and the last interview was I got all these cassette rehearsal tapes.
Oh wow!
Of Sabbath rehearsing, of the first jam with Vivian Campbell.
Wow.
I got when we were making, I think it was the Last in Line album, and we played this jam, 2 riffs jam, and Ronnie just starts singing off the top of his head, and it sounds great. I wish we would have worked on that and completed a song with it. So I played them that for a little bit, and so he's got a lot of this stuff that I got on cassettes, which is cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Sabbath rehearsal, a lot of live stuff, tons of live stuff. Yeah,
It'd be awesome if any of that ever saw the light of the day to the public.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's good. I said, you know what? I was just sitting here in the closet. I'll take a bunch out, go listen to them, give them, some bits on each of those tapes,
Nice.
But I even found the first jam with Viv. That's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So cool. Cool. So Chris Caffery, I guess we ought to wake you up down in the corner and say hello and welcome from TSO and Savatage, and What do you got to say
Yeah.
tonight?
Well, it's great to be here. It's good to see you, Vinnie. Vinnie's actually
Chris.
the very first tour I ever did was with Savatage opening for Dio when I was 19. So my very
Yeah.
first tour I ever was on in my life was opening for Ronnie and Vinnie. It was pretty crazy for me because, you know, I had just turned 19 and I was probably one of the biggest Dio fans on the planet that I knew. And my first time I got to see Vinnie and Ronnie was at Madison Square Garden on the Mob Rules tour, which to this day is probably in my top 3 favorite, if not my all-time favorite concert ever. There was there was something about that show. I can't even explain it. The garden became a temple. It was weird.
Yeah.
It was just really something about that band and that particular show that I still haven't seen any other metal concert recreate what happened to me that night. It was just so awesome. I mean, Ronnie, you know, he was just starting to peak at that point. You know, he was really getting, I mean, Ronnie was always confident in what he did, but at that point in time, he was becoming, you know, Dio was really becoming a big, huge part of what was in that arena, seeing that show that night. So it was just something about that. There was a chemistry and everything about that particular show. And it's really difficult for me to pick a favorite anything with these records and these bands because I like every song. It's weird. It's like one of those things where I can't find anything I don't like. I mean, and I didn't even really research on it just because I know the records. And I remember I waited for the mall to open to get Mob Rules because I loved Heaven and Hell so much. And that record was one of those ones that just blew me off from top to bottom. It blew me over. I was like so blown away by that album. I mean, Country Girl, your drums in that song. I mean, I knew you were going to be here. The drums in Country Girl are freaking amazing. That's got some of the coolest drum fills ever. I mean, Ronnie's vocals are great. So it's like I said, it's just really hard for me. And I think, you know, because you've seen the way that I adore Ronnie when I see him, you know, it's like, I got to be honest, when Pete was talking, I cried for about 4 hours when I found out Ronnie died. It was really, it was difficult for me because I always wanted to play with you guys in Dio. And that, if you talk to Larry Moran and everything, when Ronnie was getting tapes and Rowan got the gig, I was one of the top 3 people that was being considered to get into, you know, and I did an instrumental tape for Ronnie at that time and he put it in his top drawer. It was just one of those things. I always wanted to do something. Even when the last time I saw Magnardi, Steve, he told me that one of the last conversations he had with Ronnie when he had seen me, he says, you know, I really got to make it so I could do a record with Chris one day, because Ronnie just knew how much I wanted to do that. If everybody asked me one person I ever wanted to do a record with, it was always Ronnie. So him not being alive is something that for me, it's just like, I won't say heartbreaking, but it's just one of these things that I know that'll always be a dream inside of me to do. And I don't want to get too emotional about it because I'll speak. But he was just, and especially coming from where I was. I mean, I got the little Polaroid here. I was 19, and on this, he says to Chris, "We'll meet again, Ronnie Dio." And he was always so supportive of me on that tour because you knew how I was. Savatage had me off the side of stage. Ronnie hated it. He didn't like what they were doing. He was always so supportive. And then I got to be on the last tour you guys ever did together in Europe, that Heaven and Hell tour, opening with Ripper's band. You know, it was. So I got to see him and tour with them again, and I watched you guys every night down in the pit, and it was just amazing. So, you know, all those songs I could go through it like it just I love them. My Computer God, A Time Machine to me is one of the heaviest metal songs ever written. That verse and that kick, that's just one of those riffs that kills me when I hear it. Because Tony was one of my favorite riff writers, and Ronnie was definitely my favorite vocalist ever. And so it's like, you know, when you put those two together, it was like Sabbath with Ronnie to me was a dream band. It was just what I liked.
Yeah, it just gelled so well. The band, I mean, Ronnie fit so well in the band. It took them out of the Ozzy era into a more sophisticated kind of writing. You know, the Heaven and Hell album, you know, kind of like Van Halen when they got Sammy, it changed the music a little bit, got more serious, you know.
Yeah, and then the records that you guys did together were on a whole different level. I mean, if you separate heavy metal into rock history, those two records and then Dehumanizer and the Heaven and Hell one. Those ones sit right up there in a quality level. I know the Sammy Van Halen records were good records and there was good singing and this and that, but they did not reach to me like the level of in rock and roll history that those Sabbath records you guys did together will reach in metal. I mean, they were just priceless.
But he fits so well in, and then I come in from a young kid. I started, I don't know, I was 22 years old, and now
Oh, wow.
I'm in his band, and I couldn't even understand what Tony and Geezer said because of the heavy Birmingham accents back then. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm like, I guess, what did he say? You know, later on, I don't understand them. And yet I fit in with the feel of the way Tony played and Geezer played. So it was very interesting that it all worked. And then when we really got going, you know, like that Madison Square Garden gig, we were on fire.
Yeah, no, it was amazing.
You know, it was gelling, you know.
Yeah,
it was really, we all had the same feel, which is weird. They're from England, I'm from here. Ronnie's been doing it. I mean, it's just a weird combination that worked, you know. Crazy.
I never realized what because I never had a chance to really spend any time or tour with Tony until that time. I didn't realize what kind of a crazy English sense of humor he had. We were finishing one of those gigs and he was leaving with his roller bag and I was like, I'll see you tomorrow, Tony. He goes, you haven't heard? I go, I heard what? He goes, gig's canceled. I was like, what? He's like, only kidding. He went right on. And I was like, I just got freaking that. I thought that was like one of the greatest experiences of my life.
He's a jokester. He's always, but we got him good one time when we were making Dehumanizer. We were out in some farm in Wales, a recording studio. We pretty much lived there. Tony and Geezer would go home on the weekends because they lived close, and Ronnie and I would have to stay. And Tony comes up one night with a new car. He bought a Range Rover, brand new, pulls up, it's at nighttime, pulls up to the studio, and he comes in the studio, says, yeah, I just got a new car, you know. And Ronnie go, oh, Tone, let's go see it, you know. So all four of us go and see the new car. And they're like, wow, real British green, racing green. And so we're like, you know, nice car, Tone, great, beautiful. So we go back in the studio. Geezer goes first, then Tony, then Ronnie, then me. And I see a can of oil on the shelf. I go, hey, Ron, let's get the oil and pour it underneath the engine. So he thinks it's leaking. So, I mean, it was kind of my idea, but Ronnie's like, yeah, let's do that. But I said, you tell him, because if I tell him, he's not going to believe me, because we've been joking with each other all the time. So we did that. They went in, everybody went in. I got the oil, put some oil under the engine. Then we waited a little bit, and Ronnie made believe he went back out. And then he came back in and said, hey, Tone, there's oil leaking under your car. And we all went back out, and he was freaking out, you know, cracking up. But we didn't realize that he called the Royal Auto Club, and they were like 50 miles away. So it cost them $400 or something for these guys to come out. So then we had to tell them. Next day, my room was destroyed.
Oh, no.
Fireworks going off when I went in, and furniture, everything was turned upside down and shit. That's what we did to each other. We bonded that way. He loves practical jokes like that.
Yeah, I could see that when he did that. I was like, wow, I can only imagine what it's like.
No, he used to do that was guitar tech. He used to Fergie. He used to go, Ferg, you know, he's playing. I think the speaker's blown. And Fergie would put his ear up to the speaker, the 4x4, and he fucking let it rip. And he just blow Fergie. And he thought that was funny, you know.
He was so loud on that stage. I would come in and listen to you guys sound check and just listen to him before the PA kicked in. And I was like, holy Jesus. His sound so huge. He was a wall. Him and Geezer.
There was only one spot right in the middle where Ronnie could stand on Heaven and Hell tour.
Yeah.
Where he could hear himself singing. And if you go to the left, you're from Tony's amps were so loud, your pants would vibrate. You go to the right, you'd really vibrate because Geezer had everything on.
Yeah.
You know, by the end of the tour, we had 35 monitor mixes. So many monitors. Because Ronnie had to have them in front of the drums facing out, up in the truss facing down, in the front, that way, side fills, one here. Then Tony couldn't hear himself. So he started getting monitors. Like he's got this rig blasting. And Geezer got a monitor because Tony got a monitor, and I had monitors. I think we added some more monitors. So we had 35 monitor mixes. It was so loud. So you can't play that shit low. You can't play it with in-ears.
No, I know. We had we did a little while ago with Steve, and we were talking about. I got to go up and play with Motorhead one night. They were so. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to stand on their stage when they're playing. Their monitors were so loud. I don't even know what they could hear. It was like a battle of mid range. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, they toured with us too. It was Testament, Motorhead, Heaven and Hell, and Judas Priest.
Okay, that's right.
That Masters of Metal tour.
Yeah.
Insane.
That stage battle that the Motorhead guys had was a lot like what you discussed, but it was 3 people. So, and they were all kind of center, so they're all blasting in from every direction. And I went up there and played a song with them, and I'm like, how do you guys even know what's going on right now? It's so loud, but it was priceless. Yeah, but that's where I got to do. I missed you guys when I think you got back to the States, in Atlantic City might have been the last show you ever did, and I couldn't make it. That's the last show. I couldn't make it down that night, but I was blessed to be able to do that last European tour with you, which to me is always embedded in me because it was just so great to get to watch that close up and be in the dressing room with Ronnie. Ronnie would every night he would make sure that I went in his room, in his dressing room, and took everything because he would tell me how he goes, I don't need any of this stuff because I just put it on this list to bust their ass. So he everything he had on his dressing room list, I made sure I took it to my boss, and he was just such a great man. I mean, he was
first song I played with Ronnie when I went and kind of auditioned for them when they called me up in LA. I heard Neon Nights on the radio. I didn't really know the song. They go, what do you want to play? I went, because I wasn't a big Sabbath fan. I didn't know the other songs. I've heard them, but I was more of a Zepp fan. And I said, Neon Nights. I know it was fast and it stayed fast, so I didn't have to really worry about breaks. And
excuse me.
Bless you.
That's the first song we played, and the last song in Atlantic City I ever played with Ronnie was Neon Nights. 38 years later. That song was a journey, First song, last song.
Amazing.
Now was the end of it.
Yeah, like I said,
that tour at Jones Beach. That's the night that Phil Campbell dressed up in a chick's dress, and walked out on stage in a donkey, and Mickey D had the big sombrero on.
I don't know how I missed.
We were on the road somewhere, and it was Phil Campbell's birthday. So Ronnie goes, I want to go to the mall, and you want to come? I said, yeah. So we went to the mall to buy Phil a new dress and a matching purse. Bought him the whole thing, and Phil was so happy because he likes doing that. Go figure. He went to the mall. Go, what do you think? Oh, that's nice. That purse matches very nice on the dress, and I think he'll look good in that. So he actually bought Phil the whole getup. Really funny.
Wow, cool.
So anyway, like I said, it's hard for me to pick any one song. So whatever you guys pick, I'm gonna agree with you.
You'll just do a comment.
My favorite songs. That's my favorite song too. So whatever you pick, that's my favorite song.
I don't even want to say. I can just have you guys sit and talk because it's been amazing listening to the stories that you've been telling, Chris. It's great.
And I must say, I'm playing with Andrew Freeman, and this guy, he's got some big shoes to fill, and he fucking nails this stuff.
They're small. You know what? The actual shoes are small, but the vocals are great.
But the voice is it.
I gotta tell you,
he fucking kicks the shit out of those songs. Not many
people
can sing it.
I've watched a lot of people sing Ronnie, and I've known Randy Freeman. I've known Andy since I was like 15, 16 years old. And how much, he was able to sing back then. He was always a good singer, but what he did in time and make his voice better. The last time I saw you guys up at the Chance, that show, it was one of the first times I heard somebody that had the tone that Ronnie had when he was singing back in the old days, like the Rainbow days, when he went into the early Sabbath. Because Ronnie's voice, which people don't really realize, I mean, he was incredibly clean on a lot of that old stuff.
Yeah.
And he get the distortion in when he wanted to. And when Andy was singing that stuff, I was able to hear that tone of the old Ronnie a lot. And I was really, really cool. It was one of the best I'd ever heard anybody sing Ronnie's stuff was that night. I was really,
Yeah,
really
he's got the
happy to see that.
soul, he's got the power,
Yeah.
he just fucking nails it. It's a, you know, when we were putting the band together, we were getting these guys go, man, one, you know, what's his name? Leather Lungs. He sings just like Ronnie. Everybody wanted to sing just like Ronnie, and we weren't looking for that, you know. And then Andy came down to jam one day, and Viv just met him, and we played, and he started singing the fucking songs, and we go, holy shit. And that was it. You know, Jimmy, and Viv and me. Andy was the guy. So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Andy's the second best singer I ever played with.
Yeah.
And it's a real, he's a
Was
fucking motherfucker.
Chaz West was the first, right? Was it Chaz West? Was the
Yeah,
first?
Chaz West, then you, then Ronnie.
Actually, you haven't signed. I brought this record with me to the Orpheum in Boston on the Dehumanizer tour.
Oh, wow.
And Ronnie signed it, Tony signed it, and Jeff signed it. And I'm missing you and I'm missing Geezer on it, but that was a great show too. The Orpheum
Yeah.
on that Dehumanizer show. I don't even know how I wound up in Boston. I think my brother was living up there, and I went up there and went to that show. But that show was awesome too. All those shows were amazing.
You know, I'll tell you a funny story. When they put Heaven and Hell back together, 2007. Actually, it was 6. They were working on the Dio years at record. So Wendy calls me. She goes, they were working with Bill Ward, and it wasn't working out again. You know, it was taking too long, and they couldn't deal with it anymore. So they said, let's get Vinnie. So Wendy calls me and she goes, you want to play with the boys again? I said, yeah, who wouldn't, you know? Tell me what's going on. We made a deal, financial deal. And then I just came into my head as being a jokester. I said, Wendy, I got to tell you something. She goes, what? I said, I gained like 200 and something pounds. I'm like 305 pounds now. I had to get a special drum stool made so I could sit at the drums. And she's going, oh my God. You know, I could hear her head going, I just made a deal with this guy. And now he's like some big fat dude in the band, you know? And I left it at that, you know? And then I got on the plane, and it was all bullshit, of course. And then I finally get there, and they're all at Tony's house. They pick me, they get me a ride over to Tony's. They go, Vinnie's here. And I could see them peeking around the corner just to see me walking, if that was true. That broke the ice after 5 years. That broke the ice like that. Oh, you bastard.
Did anybody take it seriously besides Wendy?
Well, they did, because they didn't know what to think. They haven't seen me.
Yeah.
Well, I figured maybe that Tony might have known because of how much you guys have messed around with each other in the past.
But then he realized instantly. But they were all peeking around the corner like, was he really that fat? I think what was convincing was I had to get the special drum stool made.
Yeah.
The extra leg, you know, all that weight.
Great
So
story.
that made it convincing. So
It was a park bench. You should have just set a park bench there.
the cement one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just give you. This is great having you guys go back and forth, but I just want to tell you I'm going to do all my favorite ones and just go back around and let you guys continue on. I wanted to, you know, and the one I got into when Black Sabbath, when Dio was joining Sabbath and they got rid of Ozzy, that was a big time for me because I was a huge Rainbow fan. And the suspense of waiting to hear what this sounded like. And of course, as soon as you heard like Neon Nights, you just knew that it was a great thing. The first time I got to see Ronnie James Dio in Black Sabbath, I was at the Lebanon Valley Speedway up in Albany, New York area for that Black and Blue tour. And I still remember, like, it's one of those, it was a leftover from like that 70s concert scene where it was like the Hells Angels or like a biker club was doing like
Right.
the security. There were riots after the show. There was like this weirdest thing ever. There was, I was a young kid. I was probably 18 then, and I went up with a bunch of my friends. And I just remember after the show, there was like a pit off in the parking lot, and there were cars pushed down into this pit, and they were on fire, and people were throwing bottles at them and rocks. It was just like this craziest thing. So, and Lebanon Valley Speedway never had another concert after that. Like they had, I think it was the first year they tried doing it. It was like, it's a drag strip. It's still a dirt track.
Oops.
And they were trying to, do more shows. They had ZZ Top coming in a couple weeks. A couple kids like died leaving there that night, and it was a riot. So never again did they have a concert there. I still remember like pulling in the parking lot and hearing, because they would open up with the sound from Sabracadabra would come like, whoa, and we're like, holy shit, we just pulled in. I remember like us young kids running. We actually thought Black Sabbath was the headliner. We didn't think Blister Colt was. I don't know if it went back and forth in that tour or not. Was Blister Colt always the headliner?
Yeah, I went back and
back and forth. So
no, back and forth.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Alternate.
I
Yeah.
remember this guy, like people carrying like these giant like burning crosses through the crowd. And
Those were the days.
yeah, back in the day, and it was a great experience for me. I got to see you a couple times on the Mob Rules tour upstate New York, Glens Falls Civic Center and Broome County in Binghamton.
Oh yeah.
And then I got to see Dehumanizer at the Beacon. And
Oh yeah. Nice.
I got to see Heaven and Hell with I think you were on the road with Megadeth and Maybe Machine Head up at in Albany at like the Pepsi
That's
Arena.
first tour.
Yeah. So
Oh
I guess
wow.
like Chris had told me, we weren't sure if you were on that black and blue tour in August or not, but I guess it was one of Bill Ward's last gigs actually before you joined the band.
Yeah. Shit. I it might have been right after that I joined.
Yeah.
And
So
it had 4 days to learn the whole set.
Yeah, what was that like? You got a call and you were offered the job, and you had to just go on a tour. What, they take a couple of days off, and then they brought you in to start playing? Is that
Well, what happened was they were supposed to play McNichols Arena in Denver, and Bill Ward didn't show up, and he left.
Oh,
So they went shit. So they postponed the gig, and that left them with 4-day spread of going back to LA and finding a drummer. And so they went back to LA. I got a call saying, hey, Sabbath's looking for a drummer. It was the tour manager. You want to come down and to the hotel and meet Tony? I went, wow, yeah, absolutely. So I did that. It's funny, a couple months before I got a call from Sharon Osbourne, and she called me and said, I'm putting together a band with Ozzy, and we heard about you and like to fly you to England to hang out with Ozzy. So I got a call from Ozzy to join his band, but then I spoke to my brother. My brother convinced me that Ozzy was crazy, so I didn't want to. I said, fuck it. I didn't even know where England was back then. I was a young kid. I only been to Canada. So I turned that down. And then a couple months later, I get a call from Sabbath. So now that's a good year.
Yeah.
That's a good year.
You could have been in Blizzard of Oz or Black Sabbath. That's really.
So Sabbath was easy because I just drove to Hollywood and go meet Tony at the hotel, and we hit it off. And then he said, come down to rehearsal. Then I went down to rehearsal. I met Ronnie, Jeff Nichols, the keyboardist, and Geezer. And we played Neon Nights and a couple of other songs. And they said, yeah, you're in. And then they went to the pub, and I'm like, okay, we only got 4 days to rehearse. What are we going to do? So luckily, Jeff Nichols helped me. We stayed back at the rehearsal and worked on songs. Then they gave me all the songs. I had a Walkman. I had to listen to it. Next day, again, we rehearsed for an hour and a half. Then they went to the pub. And then the third day, they started getting nervous. Like, maybe we should have rehearsed more. So I had a book with all the cheat sheets written down and all that stuff. By the fourth day, we were getting into it. But man, it's one of those gigs where we're playing the ending, and And I'm going, no, not yet. What's the ending? Trying to think. And then, okay, whatever the ending was. And it was hard to learn all that stuff because we played Ozzy era stuff, and that shit is all
Yeah.
over the place. It stops, it starts, its tempo changes. So it was pretty wild trying to learn that stuff.
Awesome.
And then first gig was in Hawaii. We went there a day before, and everybody's on the beach. I'm there, at a table writing down charts and listening for 12 hours a day trying to learn this stuff. So and then we got better and better and better. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess I'll just ramble off my favorite songs and then we'll pop it around and we'll do, I'd say everybody now just give your favorite two, or we'll go around once more, like our closing statements as I do on the show, that to save a little time. And I know you guys will get talking, and it's been great having you on tonight, and thank you so much. It's hard, like it's impossible to pick, like it'll change, it could change by tomorrow morning, but I'm gonna make a tie for number. I'm cheating, I'm doing 4. I'm gonna cheat like Andrew does. Heaven and Hell, and
My favorite.
Humanizer.
Mine too.
My favorite.
This could be my number 1, but it's not. Falling Off the Edge of the World. I just think
That's my favorite too.
Amazing song.
yeah, that's Chris.
And number 2, The Mob Rules.
My favorite.
I saw, of course, I was a big fan of that movie, the Heavy Metal, the movie.
Yeah.
They just released, Stern Pinball just released that as a pinball machine based on the movie. I'm not exactly sure about the soundtrack, whether Black Sabbath is on that or not. So that's something.
Are they paying royalties on that?
I don't know. You might not get paid for that. I don't know. I'll have to look into it.
No, I didn't know.
Check your count.
The girl and everything in it. And my number 1, I guess, is the first one you learned, Neon Nights. It's a hard-driving debut, kicking off that new lineup, and a great statement. That song was a great statement that Sabbath was alive and well after Ozzy was gone.
I kicked it. Yep.
But I guess you're next.
I was the only Sabbath drummer to play with. Other than Bill, I played with both versions because I played with Ozzy too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, Bill couldn't do the
1998 Ozfest in Europe.
Right, he couldn't do it.
Oh, okay.
So Sharon,
thank you, Chris.
The guru here.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. So I was, planning to fix my sprinklers that day, and I get a call 7 a.m. Hello, Vinnie? Yeah. Hold on for Sharon Osbourne. Okay. So Sharon gets on the phone. She goes, Vinnie, we need to fly you to England. We're doing a live DVD, a live album, a live gig, and a fucking movie or whatever. She goes, can you fly out? I go, when? She goes, today. I said, no, I'm going to Home Depot, fix my sprinklers. So I said, okay. I mean, that's the thing. I tell that story. I said to young kids, what do you got to do to make it? You got to fucking be totally dedicated. I went, okay, what time's the flight? They sent me over all the CDs and I had to learn them. And I played the whole tour with Ozzy, with the original Sabbath, because Bill couldn't make it. He had a party.
I tell you, when they did the final reunions, and I think Chris and I had talked about it, we really wish that you were part of that at the end.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. A lot of people said that. I should have been.
Well, you don't have Bill. Get Vinnie then.
If Bill's not doing it, I got roots. So I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Whoever did it, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Bill's not doing it. You're the next in line.
Yeah.
And I mean,
yeah.
On the nose, Pardo. On the nose.
I mean, Cozy's not around anymore either. So, unfortunately.
No, actually, that gig I went to fly out to, that's the last time I saw Cozy.
Oh,
I saw him
wow.
backstage. Luckily, I went all the way over there and Bill did the gig, which I was almost thankful for because I didn't fucking learn the whole set on the airplane and then go do all those live DVD, movie, record. It's like, it's going to sound, loose. It's going to be
Yeah.
because there were songs I didn't play, And so then later on, I wound up playing when Bill, he had a heart problem and I did the tour. And then the tour after that, Sharon wanted me on the tour. I had my own bus,
Nice.
just in case Bill collapsed or something. 'Cause he
Oh.
had a heart problem on the other tour. But Bill played, so I kept sending him room service of like a double cheese omelet with bacon, fucking raw bacon and fucking eggs and butter. Could we have an extra butter on that? I sent it to Bill's room for room service. So, but I never played on the whole tour. Bill was fine. He's a lovely guy. I love Bill. So I just
Yeah.
killed him.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But when I played War Pigs with Ozzy, right? Played
Yeah.
War Pigs with Ronnie, right?
Yeah.
No problem. Go down, da-dum. We're all in time. So we started with Ozzy, da-dum. We're at that tempo. Ozzy comes out, come on, different tempo. I'm like, holy shit. What do we do? And Tony Geezer comes close, make sure we're on the same page. Don't listen to him. We'll try to get in between them, and we keep hitting it. We didn't go off, but they were shocked too. He came out and said a whole different thing. Come on, everybody. The whole audience.
Yeah.
Fucking freaked me out and Tony and Geezer. It's like, oh, okay. So, very
Awesome. Great
It's funny.
stories. I guess it's actually Munsey's turn to come back around and give us your closing statements on the show and let us know your last couple songs and whatever else you got to say there, Muns.
All right. I'm going to say probably my number 2 favorite song from the Heaven and Hell record is probably Children of the Sea.
Mine too.
Yeah. I gotta say, Children of the Sea. I mean, if you really get back and listen to the Heaven and Hell record, I think Martin Birch did an amazing job
oh
on
yeah.
the album from a production wise. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you stop and look at what bands did back then, man. You didn't have Pro Tools, you didn't have anything back then. You had a 2-inch tape machine, high back Studer, and a Neve console. Yep. And you had, Martin Birch behind the helm, who's an amazing producer, and 4 guys in the studio that were just amazing and wrote some of the greatest songs. And to me, Children of the Sea, it's just one of those obscure songs that's just good. You don't hear it very often. You don't hear it much on radio, but anybody who's a Sabbath fan will really sit back and they're just going to listen to it and be like, yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah.
I guess my favorite song on that album, obviously, is the title track, Heaven and Hell.
Yeah.
Because it's just Ronnie's vocals, the way he comes out, with the opening line, sing me a song, you're a singer.
Yeah.
When you stop and you listen to his voice, if you really listen to it, you hear that little bit of rasp coming in the back. And I just think it's absolutely amazing. And I don't think there's too many records out there. I mean, I can't pick my favorite record of all time because it's theoretically impossible. There's just too many.
Yeah.
And I can't really pick my favorite 10 songs of all time because there's just too many. Yeah. But I have to say, if there was like a top 100, I was going to say Heaven and Hell is probably going to be somewhere right up there in the top because I just think it's probably one of the most phenomenal records ever made.
Yeah. Heaven, that song's like the cornerstone of heavy metal, almost heavy rock, What a song.
Here it is, that record is 40 years old, actually 41 years old this year.
Wow.
And you listen to it and it still sounds just as fresh as it did back when it was released.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy for digital and I'm very happy for CDs because CDs will outlive us all. They're good for shelf life's about 100 years. Digital's forever. So I've worn out those albums back when I was in school and I'd go buy another one just so I could play it again and again.
Yeah.
Right.
And vinyl back then, I mean, dude, you just walked a slip disc up the block and you got another one for $6,
Yeah. That's cool stuff. Yeah.
What's the shelf life of an 8-track tape?
I don't know, dude. You
2
know
weeks.
Two
Maybe
weeks.
ask a couple of stoners that. They probably use those old 8-tracks for their stash or something or other. I don't know.
Yeah, boy. Cool.
Cassettes. that stuff, man.
Guess that's, yeah, they used to
Yeah,
get that
you know,
squeaky
they
noise
like
after a
that
while,
too,
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
like
Well, when
I
I-
said, there's
when I
really
went through
something
that-
to be said
When I went through oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, there's
go,
really
go.
there's really something to be said, you know, when you get in the studio. I mean, if you look at digital never really reproduces what analog can do. And I mean, it's gotten a lot better and you get extremely close, but those old Neve consoles and 2-inch tape, you know, there's just something about it that resonates, that brings out the soul of the bottom end of whatever is in there. You
Yeah.
know, and obviously, like most of the guys on here have made like some of the most amazing records. You know, and with processing, yeah, I mean, you really didn't have a lot of that back then. So if you couldn't play and you couldn't write, you just had a really bad record, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Where today, you know, you could have really bad songs and it'll just sound really good because you got a lot of stuff to make it sound good.
Yeah.
You know, and back then they didn't really have that back in the
Yeah,
late
yeah.
70s, early 80s. So
Yeah.
it really says a lot as a testament to the record and the guys
Yeah.
as musicians and writers and just like mastering their craft. They just wrote great stuff and there's
Yeah.
no two ways about it. And I think 100 years from now, you know, none of us will be here, but we're going to see like the third generation after us, the fourth generation after us, still listening to those records. And there's still going to be an influence to a lot of the new artists and guitar players and bass players and drummers that are just going to say, this is just amazing. I want to be like that.
And
Cool.
we didn't use any click tracks on those albums.
Oh, God, no. God, no.
Yeah.
Dude, you can't.
No
But
clicks.
I played guitar. That's where I started. And when we first started recording, they had a click track going. And I yelled at the engineer, just turn it the fuck off. It's annoying the shit out of me. It was like throwing me off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
And we don't, at Last in Line albums, we don't use a click track either. And we just
No.
play it through.
Sure
So-
don't.
Oh,
Sure.
And there was no pitch correct on vocals. I'd love to hear some of these new records nowadays
Oh,
without,
yeah, right.
without the digital.
Yeah. Anybody could sound good. It's terrible.
And when you had to overdub things back then, you literally had to go and if you changed the tempo of a drum track or something, we did another basic. And if you did all your guitars, you had to do them all over. Paul O'Neill was a big tempo guy. And he'd always want to slow things down. So we had one song on the last Savatage record that was like 8-9 minutes long. And he did it 3 different times. And I had 6 rhythms on this song. Was Paul, I recorded 2 distorted in stereo and then 2 cleans. And then this one track that was just me hitting the picking on a Telecaster. It was like Paul O'Neill thing, but I had to do this song like ridiculous. The 9-minute song I had to do 3 times. It was literally a whole entire album of guitars for one rhythm of one song. And you had to do it over again because you couldn't just take it and pitch it and change it. It had everything had to be done back on those tapes. So, and it did sound better. It was just fatter.
Remember when you used to say, "Do you have enough tape? We're gonna do one more
Yeah,
tape."
exactly.
You enough tape?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why when you go to play some of these old records, you go to play them and they're a little bit sharp or a little bit flat and you're playing on the guitar. It's like you used to speed it up and slow it down with that vari speed. And that's how we did it then. And it didn't do it like digital where it changes the pitch, the speed and the pitch stays the same. Everything moves. So it's like you knew when somebody was speeding up and slowing down a song with tape, which yeah, it was definitely different. You had that big stack. I still have the big stacks of tapes in the rooms behind me. Here's some of the records, and it's like you just don't see that anymore.
Varispeed was the original auto tune because you slow it down so you can get that note, you know.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
Cool.
true.
How about Robin? You want to come back and tell us your final closing statements? Give us your couple favorite songs, and we'll get around the bend here. And
I'm just gonna ramble everything and really quick, or try to be quick. For my number 2 is "Sign of the Southern Cross."
Woo!
Me too.
I mean, the song is just like when I hear it, it's just so passionate and heavy and amazing. And then my number 1 from that era of Dio is Lady Evil.
Ooh.
I probably listen to that song almost every day when I'm on tour. Like that's my merch setup song, I think.
Cool.
I just play it over and over and over again. And then other than
Great
that,
song.
I'm gonna say Stargazer.
Stargazer, yeah.
Stargazer.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And then I got a goofy story. When I was in school, when Last in Line came out, I would like put the speakers outside my house and play it so the whole neighborhood could hear the record. I wanted everybody to hear it. I carried the vinyl around school like every day. Like it was just like it was like bent and like just carried it everywhere. And I mean, I was
Did your
probably
neighbors like it? Did
my
the
neighbors probably did, maybe. I don't know. But I did. I put it outside. I put the speakers outside and blasted it. I just wanted everybody to love it as much as I did. So,
Yeah.
and I saw that tour, I think it was in 84, maybe.
Last in Line
Mom?
tour, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. And actually that was the first time. And the last time I saw Dio, sadly, was at the Revolver Awards in LA a month before he passed
yeah.
away. When he won Best Vocalist, and
Yeah.
he was in like the best spirits and everything, and it just makes me like,
Yeah.
you know, like everybody else probably like really sad, but I'm glad that was like my first time ever seeing him, and then that was my last month. I got to see him a month before, so
Right. Yeah.
I sound like I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, we all feel that way.
Yeah.
I rambled really quickly. Thank you.
But
Yeah,
Robin
but-
cries. Robin cries on every show.
I cry. I do.
We've been doing these no, we did Eddie Van Halen. I mean, we've been Lemmy.
I'm very passionate about my music. I love it, you know, and I appreciate everybody
cool.
here that puts out music. And, you know, without everybody doing that, what will we have? Nothing really. Silence.
Exactly.
Silence.
Well, there's also Legos all over the floor in her house. Every time she steps, she starts crying.
Is there?
No, stop it.
Oh,
I remember how excited I was when A Holy Diver came out. I went to the record store in a Paramus Park Mall, and I had my boom box, and I bought that on cassette because I wanted to have it everywhere I went. And I walked out of the mall playing Stand Up and Shout out of the mall in the boom box, like cranking when Holy Diver came on. So that was my
Cool.
ghetto box moment with that one.
Like,
That record was another one that just top to bottom blew me away in the first
Excellent,
listen. It was like, is this real? It was too good. It was like, this is perfect. It was
And the cover,
yeah.
badass.
But I feel
Exactly.
like that's everyone's, like, I don't know, like I love that record, but when Last in Line, I don't know, that really,
Touch you.
yeah.
I agree. I got that tape. I was at a party. I don't know.
Your turn anyhow, Andrew.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Well, I was at
Yeah.
a party and somebody, it was sitting on, it's like a basement party, and it was, you know, the high windows in the basement, was sitting on the ledge, and I just was like, oh, what's that? I'm like, I put that in my pocket. and head home
You
and
did?
did that. Oh yeah, I totally stole that tape. And
You stole my Grim Reaper CD too. You never brought it back.
I stole so much shit from your store, dude. So much shit from yours.
I should have stole from
Hey,
your
Steve,
father's
did you-
video store too.
You gave me lots of stuff.
Steve
I just-
and Munsey, but did you know that the Mob Rules cover was done by the same guy who does all our TSO covers now? This is a Hildebrandt art.
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's a Greg Hildebrandt art that he did for something else, and Sabbath took it for this record. But
So-
he did all the old Star Wars art and stuff like that. Greg's a great artist, and that's
Yeah.
actually his wife posted that story on his birthday post from the last week.
Oh,
So
somebody's
it's pretty
phone's ringing.
cool. Yeah,
Somebody's at the front door.
I
Yeah,
think so.
somebody-
Whose door?
Somebody's ring camera just went off.
Must be Major be barking if it was his house.
It's mine.
Oh, dude, you're doing
So
it.
Andrew, it's
I gotta put on the
Andrew's
glasses because I can't see.
All right.
turn anyhow. So Andrew, take the court.
All right. So these are my favorites. These are my last two favorites, and I'm going to do the Dio. I'm going to do the Black Sabbath, the Dio Black Sabbath, and then Rainbow.
Yes.
So we'll start with Rainbow. So number 2 is Gates of Babylon.
That was
Yeah.
gonna be on my list too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
Number 1, Stargazer. Great
Yeah.
song. Okay. Sabbath. Number 2 is Neon Nights. The
Yep.
number one is Heaven and Hell.
Ooh, yeah.
Just because Heaven and Hell is just, I think that's probably the best, in my opinion, the best Dio song is Heaven and Hell. So, like, out of all of them. So, which Vinnie didn't play on. So,
yeah, but I played it more than Bill played it live.
I accept that. That's very nice for you. But I'm saying you didn't.
I even played it with you.
Heaven and Hell, did we? Oh yeah, we played that. We played that before.
Yeah, we played it.
With the All Stars, right? Hollywood All Stars. We did, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we played it.
Then Soundcheck once or twice. I think we played it with Viv. So, but yeah, and then the other two, the Dio songs, the Dio era song. Number 2 is Egypt.
Oh.
And I have to say, Egypt,
Excellent
the Chains
song.
Are On,
Excellent.
was not my favorite on the album when I was younger. It became a favorite when I started playing with these guys and we started doing it live, because we had this extended guitar solo jam at the end of it, where the guys, I just walk off stage and they start playing this 20-minute jam at the end, and it's it's pretty epic. It's a pretty epic thing to see, and it's different every night. Like every night they played, it's a true jam, and it's completely different every fucking night. So
We used to play a song with Doro. Doro always covered Egypt.
Yeah, she did that really good too. Yeah.
Oh, she did? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
From the
She
Dio
loved that
tribute
song.
record.
She
that was
loved
it's a
Ronnie.
great song. It's a great song, powerful. And my all-time favorite Dio song is "Shame on the Night."
Shame on the night.
Me too. No.
Man,
That was my favorite one too. Stand up and shout.
It's such a guttural. His voice is so guttural on that. It's just so powerful, and out of all the tunes that we played, that's my favorite to play out of all of them, because it's just different. It's just that groove that gets to the point in the verse where it's Jimmy and Vinnie, and they're just locked, and it's and the two of them, when they played together, Jimmy could be out to lunch. Jimmy could be asleep, and he has been. I can vouch for that.
Yeah, yes.
I can vouch that he has been. Like he always wakes up on the 4, like 1, 2, 3, what, and then he's awake. So there was a chemistry between Vinnie and Jimmy that I got to witness in a rehearsal room and on stage, and it was probably one of the coolest, definitely one of the most powerful connections in my experience playing with musicians that I've ever seen. Because when you play, like I played bass with Vinnie, and I'm not a bass player, but I've played bass with him. And I know a lot of guys who can't handle his playing, because he throws curveballs at you. Like he'll be ahead, he'll be behind, and then he'll go into some crazy fill, and you just have to hold it down while he hold on while he does his thing, and hope that he'll come back in on the one. And, which he doesn't always.
Hey, watch it.
No, I mean, because that's who he is. That's his style. He doesn't play to a click track. He does what he does, and Jimmy was a perfect bass player for him, because the two of them, they had their own thing going on, even after not playing together for a while. It's just watching two guys just pick up right when they left off. So, and he doesn't have it. He has something with Phil too. He has with Phil Susani. He has something with him as well, but it's different.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen him play with other couple guys that were okay. They just they don't. He's a different kind of player. Vinny's a different kind of player. He's not the usual, the usual drummer that you'll play with, and it throws back to like it throws back to a 70s or 60s type drummer. He does something, and he does a fill in the middle of We Rock live, and it's kind of like a Gene Krupa thing, or like a Buddy Rich. It's like a Buddy Rich sort of thing. So one night I said, "Hey man, I like that Buddy Rich fill you're doing in the middle of We Rock," and he's like, "What Buddy Rich fill?" So I showed him one night, like we were doing the gig, and he's like, "Dude, I go, that's the riff." I'm standing on the drum. I was like, "That's the one." So now, like, it seems like every show we've done since, I'm like, "That's the one." I'm like, "That's the one," So, but it's definitely Jimmy had this kind of James Jamerson way of playing bass. This old 60s soul like the way bass players are supposed to play that very few guys play like anymore, and mixed with this kind of free form Ginger Baker, John Bond, sort of thing. It was really, I'm lucky to have seen it and lucky to have been a part of it, so that's that in Shame on the Night. That's what you hear. That's what I've experienced with the two of them. And that's one of my favorites.
Awesome.
So.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Andrew.
Fuck
That
you.
was
Nice
great.
one, Andrew.
Jimmy Bain was a rock star. I remember when I did that tour with you guys, that Dream Evil tour. Jimmy was he was a rock star. That guy was like full on all day long. He was just like, you looked at him and was like, that guy he was just cool. He had that really cool rock star thing about him, Jimmy Bain.
Yeah,
he had a mirror on the back of his bass that John Oliva loved. But I mean, that was like the old days.
He went out like a rock star, man. He went out in his leather pants. He still has leather pants on. So.
Yeah,
Rest
he
in
did.
peace, man. Rest in peace. John McEntee, how about your final and closing comments, statements for this great epic show we're having? And thank you, Andrew, for bringing Vinnie on. It's been such an honor.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Well,
Pleasure.
what was it? I met Ronnie Dio one time. It was on Killing the Dragon tour. Their merch guy was Bo, who actually was a tour manager when I was on a tour with it was us and Grave, and he was
sorry, I tried to get Bo to come on, but he was working.
Oh, okay, yeah, Bo's great. And it was Deep Purple, Scorpions, and I think Dio was opening, and they were going on pretty early, so it wasn't packed for them in the front of the stage, but we got there pretty late, and it just happened to have like extra tickets, like really close up. So we just, stayed, I don't know, probably 11 rows back or something. And it was a great show. I was just headbanging, just kind of enjoying my youth of remembering all those great songs. And I mean, it was an amazing set. It really was. And then after the show, I hear someone just calling me up by the stage, and it was Bo. And I was like, oh, hey, how you doing? And he's like, no, come here. And he goes and he hands me like 3 backstage passes for it. And I was just like, what? And it blew my mind, because anyone that knows me knows how much of a Dio fan I am. So it was just, I couldn't believe it. And we went backstage at the show and just sat down at some tables in a normal meet and greet thing. And I was just sitting at the table, and Ronnie just walks right in the room and sits next to me and just says hello and just shake my hand. And I'm like, I don't even know what to say, I'm like, this is like, one of my gods of metal, and just comes like the first person he comes up to is me, and it's like saying, what's up, just like normal, like Joe Schmo or something, and, just tried to like, think of something to say, I'm like, shaking like a leaf. You've probably seen it. I was like totally, nervous or whatever, but, just just trying to make up something to say. But anyway, he's really gracious, and he understood the fact of, that I was really nervous or whatever, but he was really nice. And actually the whole band was really nice backstage. And that was when they were playing with Jimmy too. So it was nice to meet him in person too. And I mean, really, they were all nice. Doug Ulrich was nice too. And, Simon Wright was there. He was nice. Everybody was really really cool in the band and stuff. So it was just made for a great experience. And it just was something that really, I mean, I'm a musician, not even close to that level, but it really made me think like, if somebody could be that down to earth, who is that much of an idol of mine, was just so kind and nice and courteous. It just really made me rethink myself and, how to be a better person. There's certain people you meet that you really makes you reflect on yourself. And that was a moment that I really reflected on myself, and just, it was an important moment for me. So anyway, that's my little story on that. But And one thing I wanted to bring up too is just really quickly is that I love the Strange Highways album. I think it's a great album. I love the song Strange Highways. So good. I always wish I would have been able to see it live. It was another tour that I missed because I was touring with my band at the time. Because right around that time was when my band was kind of taking off a little bit. So I missed a lot of stuff. But I love that song. And that album, I think it's a great album. I mean, it's easily, I mean, it's probably my third favorite. I mean, the first two Dio albums are just iconic, but that's an easy third album for me as a favorite, at least in my opinion. As far as, well, anyway, just out of curiosity, what's your opinion on that album?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, that's the first album with Tracy G. So it was a lot darker and a lot heavier. And we had a producer for the first time, and that was Mike Frazier, and who got this big giant drum sound. It's actually an album where I didn't play a lot on, because the drum sound was so big, you couldn't really do the Buddy Rich stuff, as Andrew said.
It sounded though like a progression from the Black Sabbath, almost like it kind of took over. I don't know if it had any influence that you just came out of the Dehumanizer, but it had that vibe. What?
No, Tracy, because I played with Tracy in World War III.
World War III, yeah.
Bane, a very heavy thing, and I recommended Tracy. That's how we got in the band. So it was a different kind of guitar player. Vivian's a lot different, melodic, different. Even Craig Goldie was a lot different than Tracy, of a kind, just dark, And that album was just really heavy and dark and big and
it just seemed pissed off. It had a good vibe to it, like a real statement. I think at the time it came out probably hurt it a little bit because it was a time with like kind of the grunge stuff was starting to get a little popular or whatnot. But I think it's a great album. And if it would have came out at the right time, I think it would have made way more of an impact.
Yeah. Well, a lot of fans were waiting for more Dio stuff. Then to come out with this album that's dark and heavy. I think it's just a little bit of a surprise for everybody. Whoa. This is
I agree with you, John. I mean, I like that record too because it was just different. You know what I mean? It was it came out at a time when that type of music just wasn't very popular, but it was it was just over the fucking top like that.
I feel the soul in that album. I just feel it. Like when that album comes on, you just like, yes, I mean, when Strange Highways comes on, it's just a song. It's just like, I think it's a great, just an amazing song. It just doesn't get enough. People don't really look at it, as one of the great songs. To me, I think it's one of the great Dio songs ever. Just, I mean, his discography is so amazing that an amazing song could get overlooked,
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, for my favorite Sabbath song eras, I really like the Falling Off the Edge of the World is really an amazing song. I mean, I remember seeing that on the Heaven and Hell tour, and I was just like, it just has that vibe to it. It was just a great deeper cut that I was just so happy to hear that. And then another song I have to pick is Sign of the Southern Cross, because that's probably it's hard to pick a favorite because honestly, I love so many. I mean, all the songs that Dio did with Sabbath, I think are phenomenal. But that song, just when it plays, and it's watching it live, getting to watch it live on the Heaven and Hell tours, it was just like, you just feel that power, it's just when it, I don't even know how to explain it, just, it when you're there, it's like some kind of like dark religious experience is happening to you through music, it's just a really great, an amazing thing. And one other quick question I just was curious about too, if you don't mind, is I hear all those stories about the Live Evil stuff being the mixing and all that stuff with that album, like people, Geezer and Tony changing the mixing and Dio stuff. What I'm curious about, and maybe it's none of my business, but I mean, was the band falling apart even before you got into the studio? Because it kind of just seems like it was already separated.
Yeah. The band was starting to break up and stuff. And Ronnie and I said, fuck it, let's go in the studio and turn the drums and the vocal way up, man. Fuck those guys.
That's great.
We said, what do they know? No, what happened was the studio was booked for 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So Ronnie's always on time. Usually the band's always on time. So Ronnie and I would drive together. We get there at 2, and we wait and wait and wait. And sometimes Tony and Geezer will very late, so to speak. So Ronnie just said, what sitting here, 2 hours wasted, 3 hours, whatever it is. So let's, start working on a mix with the engineer and stuff. So that's what happened. I mean, he never, let's put the vocal up. I mean, we want whatever the best mix.
It seems kind of ridiculous.
Usually the guy going, turn the guitar up, man. When they did the Humanizer, when we did that in Wales, and we finished it, and then it had to be mixed. And I'm sitting there going, man, I'm really fucking bored here. We're on a farm. There's nothing to do. There's no internet at that time. There was a fucking little town in Wales, And I said, so can I go home? As you guys need me? They go, yeah, there you go. You could go home. Yeah, no problem, So I went home. And then when they finished everything, Ronnie came over the house with a cassette of the mix. And I had a big stereo in my house. And we cranked it. And I went, holy fuck, the drums are fucking loud. I said, what happened? He goes, well, we just wanted to make sure they weren't buried because you weren't there. I should leave on every album. Fucking blast them. So I actually said, if I was there, I would have said, probably bring them down a notch, The drums.
You promised? Did you say you promised?
No, that was then, Freeman. That was then.
You promised that you won't be around for the mix of every album now?
This is a new world. Drums should be loud. So that's what happened. We were there, and Ronnie wanted to get to work, and then they come in, and that thing was breaking up already. So that's the band broke up every 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years. It was how many times? 3 times I'm in the band.
Yeah.
So then it got blown out in the press that we were going in and mixing it and all that shit,
Yeah.
But
Cool.
Just seems sad to me. I would have hoped that a band of that status would have had some way of kind of keeping control under that kind of stuff. I mean, just.
Well, what's funny? There was 3 managers managed the band.
Oh wow!
Oh, so that's
That never helps.
And sometimes somebody didn't like the lyric in one song.
Oh, this is great.
So even though we're in the same room, nothing could be said. It has to tell the management that he's not liking the lyric. That has to go to the next management and bring it up and go, and then it goes to how many? There's 1, 2, 3, sometimes 3 or 4 people. Then it goes to Wendy. Wendy's got to call Ronnie from the US and tell him somebody to like the lyric line or something, and you get all pissed off.
Yeah.
So you guys basically lost communication with each other.
Too many captains, huh?
Just the way it worked. Just the way it worked.
Yeah.
So, things got cluttery.
All righty.
Welcome to the music business.
Excellent.
Thank you for answering those. I appreciate it.
Can you please tell Andy, I think his vocal's too loud on that one song we.
Yeah, that was the only problem with it when I was listening to the second album. Was the vocal sounding great, but just too damn loud.
Yeah, well,
I kind of want to tell him, but you tell Munsey, and Munsey will call Andrew later. And
We got managers of the Rock Fantasy File show here. Let's move on to our next.
That's my favorite story. That's my favorite story that he's ever told me.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Standing in the same room, tell this guy, he tells this guy. Guy comes walking in the room, tells him, he tells him, and get the message. But it's like a game of telephone. It's like ridiculous.
Sad.
Let's go to our next manager in the room is Peter Pardo.
I got a quick question for Vinnie. So I saw you guys for the first time together on the Mob Rules tour. I didn't catch the Garden show that Chris Caffery was talking about earlier, but I saw the Meadowland show
Oh, yeah.
Arena. So the poor Johnny Van Zant band opened up for you guys at that show. And I think after 20 minutes, they got like booed off the stage. And I mean, they were fine for what, I like Johnny Van Zant band, but kind of a weird mix there. Now, you guys also had the Outlaws and I think Doc Holliday as openers on that tour. Whose idea was to book all these Southern rock acts?
It wasn't my idea.
I mean, because Sabbath fans are very unforgiving for openers.
I don't know, but I'll make 4 phone calls and find out. Hey, with Johnny Van Zant, they at one point we didn't really do a sound check, so we'd arrive, an hour before or something, and Johnny Van Zant's playing. So I would get up on my drums behind the curtain and tap him a little bit, everything cool with my tech and all that shit.
Yeah.
And then he started complaining, saying, Vinnie's playing the drums while we're playing. My monitors weren't on or anything, and it was this whole thing that went down with this. Like, I'm just checking the drums, tuning, but that's it. But he had a real problem with it. And I think eventually either we threw him off the tour or he left. So
I think when I saw you guys, Alvin Lee opened up one night.
Oh yeah, Alvin Lee was on tour. Yeah,
Alvin Lee, and I did see Doc Holliday at one of the Mob Rules tour in States.
Yeah, all good bands, but not as opening for Sabbath. I mean, just not a good decision.
Yeah, there was some weird bills. That they did some weird opening people. So
I do want to say I'm a big fan of the Axis band that you had right before you joined Sabbath.
Oh yeah, that was a good band. Yeah, Andy Johns produced that, and actually that's the album when I first met Tony Iommi at the hotel to see if we hit it off to play in the band. He came walking in with the Axis album. He goes, "This is really good. This is good." So he heard me play, and the drum sound is Andy Johns, so it sounds really good. It's a nice drum sound, and good band. So that kind of got me in the door too. That album, I always remember that while you walked in with that.
Yeah, that's a good undiscovered classic from that era. Really good. I don't think a lot of people have heard that.
Yeah, Power Trio. Yeah, we had fun.
I have that record, that LP somewhere in my records. I bought that one at the time when that came out. It was a cool record. I have it. I have that record.
Yeah, it's good record.
Danny Johnson plays some good guitar on that album. That's good stuff.
Yeah, Danny's good, man. Really good. It was a great band. We just needed to stay together, and vocals were lacking because they weren't the greatest vocals in the world, but I think that was the weak point in the band. So we didn't know Andrew at that time.
Kind of a similar thing your brother had with Jeff Beck in back in the day, right?
Yeah,
very similar.
Yeah.
Good band, good music, vocals. Not so much.
Yeah, I'll tell him you said that.
I told him myself about 2 months ago.
Well, actually, he's right here. Come on.
Geezer Butler
and Geezer's here.
That Pardo guy. Yeah, right. I remember him. So, all right. So my favorite, I'll finish out my favorite songs real quick here. So for the Dio band, I'm going to go with number 2 is going to be Don't Talk to Strangers.
Oh, me too.
Number 1 is going to be, Chris, what's my number 1?
Mob Rules.
I mean, the other
Chris.
Oh.
Yeah.
Chris Allen.
Holy Diver.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Holy Diver.
Me too.
There you go.
The Dio version, the Dio version or the Pat Boone in a metal mood?
Dio. Back to Rainbow. We're going to go number 2, Kill the King.
Oh, great song.
And number 3, probably one of my favorite songs of all time, Stargazer.
Yeah, Stargazer.
Kill the King. Oh my God, what a great song.
Killer.
That Rainbow Live in Munich DVD is one of my favorite live concert videos of all time. That thing is very, very, very special. Ronnie was so great in that, and so was Cozy and everything. That's when you really had a chance to just watch these guys, and that was an amazing band. That version of that band was just freaking great. But I love that Live in Munich DVD. Was I think to me one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite Ronnie vocal performances. Is that live DVD? He was so awesome on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, I gotta run in a couple more minutes.
Well, let me finish up with Chris Allo and just and we can wrap it up and
wrap it up.
wrap it up. Chris, what do you got for?
All right, cool. The Sabbath pick, that was easy. My all-time favorite song of any band ever is Sign of the Southern Cross. Heaviest fucking song ever recorded. But it's great. And my favorite Dio song, which I've seen Last in Line do at the Chance, and they fucking killed it, is Evil Eyes. You guys fucking crushed on that. And my quick question for you have to go. One of the weirdest things in Sabbath history, 1992. Unfortunately, Ronnie doesn't do those Ozzy farewell shows, so they bring in Rob Halford. But you actually do play them. Was that weird? And then when obviously Ronnie leaves, you stuck around and did those shows. But were you eventually you do leave to go to Dio? But did you think at all about staying with Sabbath, or was that?
I wanted to ask that too.
That whole thing is just obviously because the Ozzy reunion didn't actually happen. So, you know, if you could talk a little about that.
I sat there. I just said, fuck everybody. I'll do what I want.
Nice.
No, I'm kidding. It was like, okay, Ronnie didn't want to do those shows. He doesn't want to go on before Ozzy because who knows what would happen. So he refused to do them, but Tony and Geezer really wanted to do them. So now we got a little conflict going, and it's decided we're doing the shows. So now I'm in the middle.
Right.
What do I do? So I had to sit down with Ronnie and go, look, I'm in the middle. What do you suggest? I don't want to leave you. I don't want to really leave them hanging. There's not much time to get a drummer, and I don't want to, burn my ties with you. Obviously, I want to play with you. And he said, do it. You got to do it. You can't leave them without a drummer. I said, okay, thank you. So we agreed on what we were doing. And then we played Phoenix with Ronnie, and then the next day was off. So the next day we were going to rehearse with Rob Halford at some rehearsal place. So it was really funny because it's just a regular rehearsal place. And then comes Rob Halford, Iommi, Butler, me, and people in there going, oh my God, what the fuck is this? What's going on? I remember the faces of everybody was freaking out. So we rehearsed with Rob for about 2-3 hours and went over songs that I never played before. They're Ozzy tunes. The only thing we did at Dio was only a couple of them. One of them was Heaven and Hell. So now we got all these new songs, and Tony and Geezer haven't played them in a while either, and I haven't played them. And now we're playing with Rob, and we're kind of now on edge, like, oh shit, you don't have that confidence of, man, we've been playing the whole tour together. You don't have that confidence. So it was a bit nerve-wracking. Mm-hmm. And then so we went out, and it sounded great. Rob killed it, except the teleprompter went off, So luckily Rob had all the lyrics on the floor on paper, but he couldn't see them. Put his glasses on, So he got down on one knee, did one of those so he could read the fucking lyrics. And it was great. It sounded great. People loved it, and it was good. And then there was word to talk about maybe carrying on, from there with Rob. And then there was also talk after Ronnie passed about doing it after that.
Oh wow!
After the dust settled too. And actually, Rob kept wanting to do it. He wanted to do it, and because I'm going to talk to Tony when I saw him somewhere at an award show. I'm going to talk to Tony, and then recently, I sent a message over to the management about, hey, we could easily do an album and not even see each other, right? The way things are done these days, with Rob. So
that'd be awesome.
That was a killer version of Into the Void that Halford shows with Sabbath. I had a live video of that. He did Into the Void, and it was so freaking heavy. That was a good live version.
But it was it's a nerve-wracking show because you just didn't have that confidence of killing it in the set. This was just like, okay, you ready? What's the ending on this one? And I broke out the book again. Write everything down. fucking, but it worked out great. Rob was killer.
That was like
He was
when
the
Ray
guy.
Gillen did his first show with Black Sabbath. I knew Ray really well, and he didn't know the lyrics. And he had him on the ground in paper, and then the dry ice rolled out over his lyrics. And Ray's there in the front of the stage trying to wipe the dry ice away to read his lyrics on the floor.
Yeah. Oh,
It was
man.
pretty funny.
People don't realize what happens, like stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I
don't know why
saw
just
the
didn't use it-
teleprompter
use an
break
iPad.
when Ozzy played too. I mean, on Iron Man and songs that everybody knows the lyrics to. He didn't know the lyrics. And I never seen people run so fast backstage to fix that fucking thing. Oh man.
So Chris, Allo, you're finished with your statement?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Vinny's got. I could ask you questions all night, but he's got to go.
And
So
I know Vinny's got to get going. And Vinny,
Yo.
an honor to have you on Rock Fantasy Files. I don't know how we're going to top this episode. I think it's about probably. I thought last week with having Gene Hoglan and the Death Guys was the tops, but this is just awesome. Such great conversation we had tonight during the pandemic.
Thank you.
What else can we do during the pandemic right now? I go crazy. It's just.
I listen.
yeah,
I know
it's
a
crazy.
lot of other famous guys I can bring on here.
All right, Andy. We'll work on next week.
Andy is connected. He can get you anybody you want.
Yeah, what do you need?
Hey, Andy, did you notice that we were here last week, and all of a sudden this is so much better than it was, and we were. What were we? We were missing something.
We were, yeah. We were also talking about this. So
Steve was like, "It's never been this good," and me and Andy were like, "Wow, geez."
Andy's connected.
With some really great stories tonight. We had a bunch of cool people talking about stuff they're passionate
I'm
about.
gonna write a book.
oh,
And,
Okay.
I'm gonna show how I got started, all that shit, and then band. Then at one point it'll be a blank page because I
Yeah.
won't.
well, this is a very big thing for Vinny because he can't read. So
Yeah.
for him to write a book, it's going to be like X's and O's and all sorts.
You're
of
gonna have to help him, Andrew.
It's gonna
Yeah.
go one sheet will go verse, chorus, stop, 2, 3, 1 bar, verse, chorus, and then I'm gonna have it's gonna be
book of his fucking charts.
that'll be in there. Then a blank page. Then I'm gonna have a meatball recipe. Right.
Oh yeah.
And more stories, blank page, all the shit. And then maybe a tuna fish sandwich salad.
Oh yeah.
special tuna. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put recipe within the stories and shit.
I can't wait.
Gonna be totally different.
Well, I'm gonna
With the
say
blank
thank you
pages.
so much. It was amazing. Your stories and everybody's conversation and everything was
That
amazing.
was awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. Good
Yeah,
to see you
thanks
Monday.
so much.
thank you.
You guys,
too, Vinny.
everybody,
See you later, bro.
stay
So,
safe and be good.
rock on.
Thank you for everything.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank
So
you, guys. Andy, I'll
on-
see you Monday.
we're gonna
Sounds good.
wrap up this episode of the Rock Fantasy Files. Please like my video, hit subscribe, check out the Sea of Tranquility channel. We do the Hudson Valley Squares every Monday night too. And check out rockfantasy.com. All my plugs are in there. Anybody else want to plug anything you're doing? Last in line.
Yeah.
Go buy some.
I'd like to plug Robin.
Hey.
Hey, I do a drum show every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Facebook, check it out.
On Facebook. Oh, great. I'm gonna have to look that up for sure.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah, check it out. It's a really cool show. It's drum and a little bit of teaching, music, stories, the whole fucking thing. It's great.
Great. Hopefully we can have you on down the road again and stay safe.
No, I'm not coming back here.
Now we're coming back. Okay.
Too fucking long.
Too fucking long.
That's a long
I'm
show.
tired.
I told
I'm
him, I
tired.
warned him today too. I go, hey, listen, it's sometimes we go for like 2 hours or more. So if you're starting to fall asleep, he gets ornery, he's getting old. I gotta go cut the grass.
I gotta go. I don't even know if I can play.
I gotta go start a gravy. I gotta go.
I don't know if I could play an hour and a half anymore. I'm good at about a half an hour.
Fuck.
Well, if we have you back, we'll make it a 20-minute episode.
Okay. Quickie. Oh, quickie. All right, you guys take care. Bye, everybody.
Thanks,
All
man.
right.
See you.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you
Bye.
next week.
Steve, thanks for